to the podcast. Usually we have a funny little bit here, and you can laugh at us if you want now, make it funny. But we were going to talk about Costa Rica, and Jen just got back. Hi, Jen.
Hello.
Just got back from Costa Rica. We're going to do a whole episode on Costa Rica, and then we got to talking about D23, which is happening this week. And as you know, as you listen to the show, Jen just talks and talks and talks, and finally, I'm like, Jen, you got to shut it down. Turns out we didn't want the show to be 2 hours long, so we decided, you know what, let's do Costa Rica next week. But we do want to mention something cool with Adventures by Disney, not something that the ABD is doing, but something that Upon a Star Travel is doing. And guys, you know that I don't want this show to be an infomercial, but this is a cool thing that if you've ever been interested in Adventures by Disney, now's the time to really look at it. Because Jen, what are we doing for Adventures by Disney travelers?
Well, in honor of my trip, and if you are somebody who has looked at Adventures by Disney or are at all interested, you followed the trip and were like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. We want to help make it possible. So essentially right now, if you book between now and September 15th, Upon a Star Travel is going to do up to a $250 gift card per reservation, which you can use that gift card towards your final payment, or, you just want the gift card to go to Walt Disney World. I mean, cool. But you'll receive that after final payment. But we are doing that, and that's good for any adventure, not just Costa Rica. Great if it's Costa Rica, highly recommend. But if there's another spot that was on your bucket list, you can do that. I'm going to talk a little bit at the end, though, of the show about my Costa Rica trip, so stay tuned for that throughout the whole thing.
Yes.
But just wanted to highlight that for all of you.
Yeah, we never make this a commercial at the very beginning of the show, but I felt it was important because we're not talking about Costa Rica as the full show until next week. By then, the booking promotion will have ended. So I wanted to make sure that people heard that right at the top of the show. So, all right, guys, we're going to be magical and funny right on the other side of this little break with our good friend Jonathan Lee Iverson giving us the announcement. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we proudly present our spectacular show of podcast magic and imagination full of Disney wonder, news, and pop culture. It's the Main Street Electrical Podcast with Jen Novotny and David Dollar.
Welcome back, Jen.
Oh, thank you. Hello.
It's the Main Street Electrical Podcast. I am Dave, and this is one of my very good friends, and of course, our Upon a Star agency owner and all-around travel extraordinaire, now world traveler, of course. That is Jen Novotny. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Dave. How are you?
Welcome back from Costa Rica, which I know you have a lot to talk about tonight.
Oh my gosh,
we'll
yes.
definitely get there. So we're going to talk a little bit about Costa Rica tonight. We'll talk about Adventures by Disney. So if you've ever wondered what is ABD, we're going to answer all those questions for you tonight. And of course, we're going to talk about D23 because it's coming up really soon. We got some predictions. We've got some stuff that we probably think is going to happen, and you probably think is going to happen. So we'll talk about that. And then we have some bold predictions, not bolt predictions. Although, which
is what I thought he said earlier. I was like, bold predictions?
One of my greatest predictions, I think, would be, what if Disney took those hamster wheels, those big inflatable balls you can crawl into and roll around? What if Magic Kingdom offered those on like a Bolt hamster wheel? Bolt the hamster.
Do you know what mayhem
you could roll down Main Street on the way out of the park?
Can you even imagine?
An incline.
This would do you know what a disaster that would be? Can you just picture it?
Can you imagine everybody trying to get in those big balls when you're on Main Street? When I'm assuming you've been there on Main Street when the fireworks are over and you literally cannot move. You're shoulder to shoulder and you're just there, and like you can't move. Everybody around you is at standstill.
Listen, but if you're in those hamster balls, then at least nobody can touch you.
Right.
So
see, this is a COVID thing.
This could be.
Fauci would love this.
I could be. Well, listen, I'm not going to lie. When I'm standing in line for certain attractions, I kind of wish I had an inflatable bubble.
I mean, you had 2 or 3 feet around you, nothing but air. Your
I don't
air.
Need 6 feet, but I don't need you to be up in my business. Like it is hot, and I do not need your skin so close to me that I feel your body heat when it's already 100 degrees. Like I'm just saying.
So
like give me some personal space.
I had a friend of mine who thought of this idea, and Disney almost did it when they remember, like for 6 weeks when they sold those Space Mountain cabanas. You could rent them for like $500 a day.
Yes,
and it was a disaster because they were so ugly.
Because I was like, what?
Them. You know, somebody told me, they were like, if Disney would create like these little one person one person, air-conditioned little pods somewhere in the park. You could step in, just have a seat, a little bench there, a little cool little bench there. You only get 10 minutes. You have to rent it for 10 minutes, $40 or $50 for 10 minutes, but it's
people would pay
fully air conditioned. You could just sit in there. It's fully ventilated, so it doesn't stink in there. The air is flowing through. I'm like, that is a great idea.
People would pay for that.
I would pay for that just to go sit for 10 minutes in a little air conditioned, where it's dim lighting, and just to, that would be fantastic. That would be amazing.
Especially in like middle of July.
It's also called the baby center, but I can't go sit in the baby care center and just relax.
No, people are gonna think that that's strange if you just go to the baby care center.
Chris Hansen's sticking his head around the corner, going, "Hey, why don't you have a seat at the stool right there?" Some people are getting that joke. Jen, how did you Disney this week? And don't say Costa Rica because you Costa Rica last week.
I did Costa Rica last week. No, well, if you don't count booking, which is kind of a normal. Today I'm wearing my shirt that I bought on the Disney Costa Rica trip because this is my sloth shirt. I'm wearing my sloth shirt
from Zootopia sloth, like sloth from Flash?
It's not Flash.
Oh, okay.
No, gotcha. It's a Zen sloth.
Oh, I gotcha. Pure. Okay.
It says living pura vida, because pura vida is literally, it is a saying that took on, and I can talk about it later about how it came to be in Costa Rica. And pura vida, literally, that's a greeting, that's a goodbye, that's a like a thank you, like a you're welcome. He's like, oh, gracias, like pura vida. It means pure life.
So you were pura vida there. You get back, and immediately it's living la vida loca. Pretty much.
I mean, literally, living the crazy life here. You're like back at my desk, like, whoa.
Yeah, I would imagine coming from a trip like that, especially when you don't have a lot of access to get to. I mean, you're so busy, you're not going to want to work. You're not going to want to sit down in front of your computer every night for an hour or two.
Other than just keeping up a little bit with making sure no emergencies.
Exactly. So you get back and you probably got a dozen emails in your inbox you got to sort through, and
more than that. Man, I wish it had only been a dozen.
Take me an hour or two to read through these, and just can't imagine.
It was, I kept up enough to sort of know, no big fires or whatever. But of course, being out of touch, and then people know when I'm back. So, which is great. And I welcome it, but there was a lot to sort through and take care of after a long trip like that.
And it was good though, because you were able to communicate with all of us while you were there. So you had some Wi-Fi, which was nice. We were able to ask questions and stuff, and I would send you a message. I know you're on vacation, Jen, but I have a problem. Can you solve it real quick? I could solve it on my own.
I got that more than once.
I could solve this on my own, but since you're there and you're talking, can you put down the zip line handle and talk to me for a second about my problem that needs to be solved right now? So I am doing a project on Instagram at the Magic on $1, by the way. I'm doing a project on Instagram where I'm taking, and this is so self-absorbed, by the way. I'm doing a project where I'm doing 30 Disney shirts in 30 days. I've been counting down the days to our Disney trip at the end of September by showcasing a Disney shirt every day. Surprisingly enough, I don't have enough Disney Hawaiian shirts to go 30 days.
Really?
I could only
that
go
surprises me.
I could only go 25. So I have to supplement them with some ringer tee. I have a People Mover ringer tee. I have a Monsters Inc. shirt I'm going to put in there, Of course, I've got on my 50th shirt right now.
Okay.
This is a shirt I have not worn since last October. It's been in my closet.
All right.
I put it on especially for today. Now, there are some shirts that I have that, of course, are great for Disney. I'm not sure I'm going to wear them out and about in public. I haven't decided yet. Some shirts I'm like, it's a little wild for the natural public, but maybe people ask about it. People love the Bing Bong shirt. I know I have the pink Bing Bong shirt.
Oh, I saw you wearing the Bing Bong shirt the other day.
I get asked about my Pizza Planet shirt all the time. So it's a business thing too. I'm like, I can mark this shirt off on taxes and because I'm talking about business. I probably can't do that. Please, IRS, don't come.
No, I was gonna say, I was like, do you really want to go there? Like
No, I really don't. I really, really don't. So let's jump into a little bit of news. All right, Jen. So first off, this is kind of a crazy story. You didn't hear anything about it because I guess it happened last night. There was a fire at the American Gardens Theater in Epcot last night.
I did not hear this. I don't know if it was just, I was very busy last night. I had an event I was at. So that's probably why I wasn't on Facebook.
Well, it happened at the end of Harmonious. And so this would have been like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. Yeah. So you were still answering questions from all of us who can't think for ourselves, obviously. Just kidding. We do a lot of stuff on our own, by the way, but Jen is great to pitch in. But you were probably asleep by then by the time this got out, because the videos, of course, everybody has a camera on their phone, so they're taking videos.
Right.
So this morning, crews were cleaning up on the fire. It wasn't a terribly damaging fire, but there was enough of a fire. Following the performance of Harmonious, a fire could be seen at the American Adventure. It's unclear has the fire started. It is possible it could have been due to stray sparks from the from the nighttime spectacular fireworks. It doesn't look devastating. Of course, it's a startling because you see, fire on top of one of the buildings, which is supposed to be there, and so that's not cool. But there is that. But they basically got it done like before this morning, and they've already taken everything out, so everything is good. Everything is fine. So there is that. Next up on the list here, the Play Pavilion. Oh, we're still over in Epcot. We're talking a little about we'll talk about D23 and what's coming up. But one thing that's kind of out there now is this Play Pavilion. And of course, D23 a few years ago, and this is pre-pandemic, when all these grand Epcot plans were going to happen. Now, naturally, when the plans are grand, a lot of times all of it's not going to happen anyway.
Right.
Fantasyland's a great example. They were actually, do you remember, Jen, when they did Fantasyland D23? They were going to have a castle for each princess.
They were.
Everybody was gonna have a castle.
I mean, they have a lot of castles. I mean, they did. I mean, we did end up getting Beast Castle, so Belle,
Beast Castle,
and then Little Mermaid. We did
Eric's Castle has a small.
I mean,
castle
it's funny because they're not really the princesses' castles, but kind of.
Yep. So they were that was gonna happen there, and they pulled it back because they were like, okay, it's a little girl centric. Let's kind of do some different things here and whatever. So one of the things they announced was a Play Pavilion. So one of the pavilions are going to be doing in this whole, which I don't think is still taking hold yet. This whole neighborhood thing, this celebration neighborhood, celebration and World Showcase and whatever. And so, I mean, and people still talk Epcot, Future World, and World Showcase. They don't talk.
They do. No, they don't talk like this is. I mean, of course, it's not open yet. So to be fair, it's still Future World.
And so they're still working on it. They're still fencing everywhere, and I get that. The Play Pavilion was supposed to be this interactive pavilion in one of the the empty pavilions now, and they're going to build it. It can be a great little thing for the kids and stuff like that. And not much has been talked about that. It's on the shelf now next to the Mary Poppins plans, and a binder up on the shelf going. We'll get to that.
You had to bring up Mary Poppins. You had to trigger me, didn't you? Thanks.
I'm sorry. You know what's also triggering? The fact that Walt Disney World is the cash cow of the parks. We're the ones that make all the money. But Disneyland, it gets all the cool stuff. As evidenced this week by the video that we saw Hector, the character from Coco, playing on stage. Full costume, full face, everything. I mean, it looked super cool at their Oogie Boogie Bash. Does Disney World have that? No, we don't. We just have 2-hour lines with Jack Skellington. That's all we get. They get a full layover on their rides and stuff, and sometimes we get the Star Wars stuff where they just put up a few lasers. It goes pew pew, and that's it. Chapek, come on, man. We're making you the money. You love the money. You throw in the Coco characters and some other. I mean, you throw those in to the Not So Scary Party. I mean, the dates are already selling out anyway. Maybe that's why they're like, well, why do we need to do anything extra? But how cool is that? How cool?
I mean, I did actually see some pictures of that, and I was like, that is like freaking cool. That's straight cool.
It's really, really cool. So, of course, the Not So Scary Halloween Party is, in fact, booking up. It's almost sold out here. So, looking at the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween tickets, if you want to go in September, sold out, gone. Now, and I think we mentioned this on the show before, Jen, but I don't really listen to when you talk, so you may have to reconfirm this. I'm just kidding. Military can purchase day of. Is that correct? Can they still do that?
So, I mean, in the past, yes. So I believe so.
Okay.
But I mean, that's always something to, definitely check. Because if it's totally sold out, then.
Well, and that's what I've heard. Even sold out tickets, they can purchase.
But usually they're pretty good with military. I will say that normally they're pretty good. We do have a couple of military experts in Final Star, so we'll double check that information. But, in the past, that has been.
We should get one of our military experts on and talk military. I think that'd be a good episode.
That'd be a great episode.
I think they would do that. So we'll do that. So, it's the only dates left in October, however. 4 dates.
Yes.
October the 14th. Friday, October 21st, Friday, October 28th, Friday, and October 23rd, which is a Sunday. That's it. Those are the only dates left. And this is midday on Wednesday when we're recording this.
Yep.
As of right now, that's all that's left. Christmas, I just looked. Everything is still available. I don't honestly, and I cannot promise this at all. I don't think we're going to start seeing sold out Christmas until probably later into maybe late September, early October. Now the Christmas dates, the ones Christmas week, those will get sold out first.
Yes.
And typically the first night or two will get sold out first.
Yeah.
Those
and the ones closer to Christmas probably will sell out as well. But it typically takes a little longer. Normally we see Halloween sell out before we see Christmas. I mean, obviously.
And what I would say too is if you know you're going to go to this, you're not going to get discounts on this. You're not waiting for discounts for these tickets to go on sale. They just
Right.
are on sale. Go
Yes.
ahead and purchase your tickets when you know you're going to go. They are non-refundable. So if you're like,
Correct.
the 21st, we're going to be there. I think we're going to go. I'll talk to the husband, whatever. Don't buy tickets yet. Wait till everybody says
Nope.
we're going. If
Because
you're
they
like,
are
yeah, we know we're
non-refundable.
going to go the 21st, we just haven't bought tickets yet. Buy them very quickly. We can definitely
Mhm.
help you with that. Definitely walk you through that. Definitely walk you through it. Of course, with a Halloween party,
can.
you can get in at 4:00. You don't have to
Yep.
use a park ticket. So, and
Correct.
I've got a lot of families that for the Oogie Boogie and for the Mickey's Not So Scary, they'll have 5 days at the park. They'll only have a 4-day ticket, and that day off,
Mhm.
that's the day they sleep in. They go to the pool.
They
Go to Disney
relax.
Springs. They relax. Hit Magic Kingdom at 4 or 4:30. They
Mhm.
have 3 hours to kind of chill
Yeah.
and do fun stuff. And if you want to buy Genie Plus, you could, I guess, for those 3 hours. And then you can hit the party at 7:00. They start clearing people out
Absolutely.
around 6 that don't belong there. And I've also
Don't
heard
belong
too,
there.
I've also without a ticket. And as much as we pay for these tickets, I'm like, you don't have a ticket. It's 7:30. Get out.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. And
yeah.
something to consider. I mean, but it is. And usually if you're there during the day and you don't have a
Mhm.
ticket, it also does usually work out because the mornings tend to
Mhm.
be fairly empty and you
Yeah.
get a
We're
lot
seeing
done.
pictures of this too.
Yeah. So if you're like, especially if you
yeah.
have another day where you can see the fireworks, okay. Like if
Yep.
you're like, no, I have to see fireworks. Well, go make a second Magic Kingdom day a day of the Halloween party.
Right.
Yeah, you're gonna leave early. If you have a hopper, go somewhere else.
Right.
But you're gonna be able to really do a lot that day, usually.
Absolutely. I think also, and I've heard this and I've actually experienced this before.
Mhm.
Obviously, we can't guarantee anything because who knows what's going to happen.
Right.
But typically, party days, like you just said, are fairly low key days because people don't want to go to if they only have one day at Magic Kingdom,
Yeah.
they want to go for the whole day and not be shoved out at 6:00. And
Yep.
just remember, if you have a Magic Kingdom Park day and it's a party night, you're going to be asked to leave at 6 if you don't have a party ticket. Just so you know, when you're planning your ticket, this is the stuff that us travel agents will be happy to tell you and make sure you know, hey, I want to go to Magic Kingdom on this day. That's awesome. Are you going to the Halloween party? Oh, no, we're not spending the money for that.
Yeah.
Then just so you know, you're not going to see the fireworks. You're going to be kicked out at 6:00. So
Yep.
coming up this weekend, and I'm excited for this. This is one of those things that Disney nerds like myself are always excited about. D23. This is the big event they have, the massive event they have in California. They have something called Destination D, which is kind of in the off year in Orlando. It's a lot smaller key. I think they kind of use that to fill in the gaps. And okay, well, it's some updates here and there. But D23 is the massive weekend event. It's been sold out for months and months. So you're not going to just walk up in there,
No.
with your ticket or with your money and be like, hey, I want to go. I would love to go to D23, Jen. So next time it happens in 2024, I guess, go ahead and the agency can send me. I can report from the floor.
Great.
I can Twitter from the floor. I can IG from the floor, hop on the Iggy there and put the pictures up and video and some reels. I'll be happy to do that for the agency. I will give of my weekend.
You are so sacrificial. I mean, oh my goodness.
I'm just a benevolent server. All I want to do is serve. I really do. And so D23, we're gonna hear about Marvel. We're gonna hear about Star Wars. San Diego Comic-Con was a few weeks ago, and they did some stuff there. But this is where they have everything.
Yes.
This is where we hear all the big news about all the stuff coming up, some of which may or may not happen, which we've talked about the Play Pavilion, and some of which hopefully will be exciting. And so what I want to do real quick is I want to give some predictions.
Okay.
Heather, we contacted quasi producer Heather. She can't be on right now. She's got some, she's about her day doing her thing today. She's not on the show today, but she did give her own predictions as well.
She did.
And Jen, you have a couple of predictions of things that we know is going to happen. And and I have a few things that have I have no inkling these are going to happen, but I'm predicting these things.
We're predicting.
So Jen,
absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit about things that probably will happen. You mentioned a couple, so go ahead and give a couple of what you think probably will happen.
I think we're probably going to get some sort of a Tron update. Now, maybe not an exact opening date. It's rare. Like typically what we get with a new attraction is spring of whatever, fall of whatever,
right?
Summer, whatever. So like a general season. And then we get more specific closer in. Like that's with almost every attraction I can think of right now is how it works. So I think that we're going to get a Tron update, possibly in conjunction with a railroad update, which I would certainly hope.
You mean the one that hasn't been operational for 1,375 days?
That's the one.
Yep.
I very much hope that we're going to get maybe a reopening for the railroad. And please, I just need it to be open. Like come on.
Yeah. Well, even when it's open, though, you're not going to be able to ride it forever because the line's going to be so long for that train. Because people will experience the train. But you know what? We'll stand in it. And we have the DAS Pass. So you know what? We'll be like, DAS Pass it, maybe. Can we come back and ride the train, please?
We might just have to come down and get on your DAS Pass so we can go
Campbell,
ride it.
Oh, yeah, because Campbell has accepted the fact the train's not running the last few times we've been. The train hasn't been there. So he doesn't even look at it now because it hasn't run.
Right.
When he sees that train moving, it's over. I mean, there is no, okay, son, it's a 2-hour wait right now for the train because they just now opened it after 1,464 days being closed. It's just, and people want to see it. There is none of that. He will be like, train, we're doing it. Let's do the train. All right. I don't have anything else to do for the next 2.5 hours. Let's do it. So it'll be exciting.
You're going to ride it around like 3 times.
Okay. So bold prediction here. I'm predicting Tron opens early December. And I'm predicting this
that's
because
a bold one.
They're doing human testing. They're running it now.
Okay.
I think maybe even as early as the week before Thanksgiving, honestly, just to get that full week of running in, maybe soft openings in November, because speaking business wise, it's fiscal year 2023 is early when October 1st. You get that Tron in, you get those, you're able to fill the rest of those rooms in, for whatever, get the rest of the people coming in for the holidays and stuff, start 2023 off with a bang, Tron. That will also allow, and we'll get to the other stuff in a minute, that will also allow opening dates to be open for stuff Memorial Day, early summer. So they can start announcing we're going to be opening these things, like some stuff we'll talk about in a minute. But we do Tron. We talked about Tron. What else do you think might be announced overall?
Oh, overall, and I'm going to say I don't think it's going to be December. I think it's going to be spring. But that's my prediction. I also think we're going to get an update on Moana, on the Journey of Water, because they have been doing like a few things here and there about it. That, of course, is the one that's the furthest along of the at least from what I understand, from the Epcot refurbishment. What should we call it? Update, change, whatever.
Right.
So I do think we're going to get some sort of an update. In my head, I don't think we're going to see it till next summer at the earliest, but I could be wrong. I do think we're going to get an update on that, though.
This is what I was thinking of. They open Tron early December. Moana gets the Memorial Day opening date. Moana, Journey of Water, Memorial Day, or early summer. So that way you don't have two competing major attractions in two parks at the same time. You know, get Tron going, having it going for the spring, and that way when summer hits. That's my prediction.
It's just so rare to have like a December opening. It's so rare. I'm not going to say it can happen. It's just very rare. So,
well, something else that I think is, and this is kind of, I don't want to say known, but really people are kind of thinking this is what's going to happen. I do think this D23 is going to be Disneyland heavy. We're going to hear a lot of Disney World stuff, but a lot of Disneyland stuff. I think they've been talking about an overhaul for Tomorrowland over there. And I think they're going to do that. I think there will be a Fantasyland expansion of some sort. We maybe get another dark ride, maybe another ride here and there. And I think there will be an Avengers Phase 2 that will be announced. And I think it needs it because honestly, I don't know. Have you done Web Slingers? Have you been to Disneyland since?
No, not since. I really want to get out. Oh, I will be out there at the end of the year. So hopefully I'll be able to do Web Slingers then,
I don't think Avengers has been a flop at all. I think it's been very popular, but I don't think Web Slingers has been the attraction they thought it was going to be. If you've ever done Spider-Man in Universal Studios, it's kind of a motion simulator, kind of up and down kind of thing.
It makes some people a little motion sick.
It's like the same thing, except you're moving your arms back and forth. And it's a fun ride. But it's not a ride that I'm like, honey, we have to go do Web Slingers. Let's go. It's one of those like, okay, if the time is good, okay, wait time of 35 minutes, let's do that. And a Marvel ride like that, which is a rare ride, should be an attraction that it's a must do. We have to do it. Like Breakout. Mission Breakout is the must do.
I love Mission Breakout.
So I think they're going to look at Avengers Phase 2. What that looks like, I have no idea. But I think
I would agree with that. I definitely think we're getting an expansion to the Avengers campus because it's so popular and they can do so much there.
Yeah,
so I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, and I think so. With the new characters coming out, of course, Captain Marvel, you've got Ms. Marvel, you've got She-Hulk, those kind of characters. I think we'll get some meet and greets and stuff. I don't think they're going to give a ride to She-Hulk or anything, but I think there will be some sort of Avengers type attraction, dark ride of some sort. I don't think it'll be a coaster, but like a free fall or something. Well, we had Breakout for that, but anything else did you have any other predictions or any other thoughts that you think might happen?
Well, I had another one. And of course, do you think I can find the list that I scribbled down on a piece of paper, of scrap paper? No, I absolutely cannot find the list that I scribbled down.
If you're going to be paper oriented, you have to be like me and be organized. Your Post-it notes have to be lined up.
Oh my god!
You have to have it in notebooks. I got my notebook right here.
I cannot.
See? You know?
No. I'm gonna pull one in with quasi producer Heather, because she put this as one of her predictions, and I agree with it. I think we might possibly hear something about an Animal Kingdom, something new. Whether it's an expansion or a new attraction or update on something, because I feel like they've done a ton with Hollywood Studios recently. I don't know that we're getting any new whatever with Hollywood Studios. You know, we know of stuff for Epcot and Magic, but I feel like Animal Kingdom might possibly get something.
I agree with that.
New.
I'm going to go more specific and say that there will be some sort of expansion, and I think Dino Land is going to get some attention. Whether they rebuild Dino Land or they retheme it completely, I don't know that it'll be like a Zootopia thing, honestly, because I know Shanghai, it's really big in Shanghai. Zootopia is not that popular. I mean, it's popular, but
it's not as huge, and people don't talk about it like they do with
so
other
it's not
things.
Something
that's
massive over here. But I could also see them saying we're going to add to Avatar or Pandora. You know, we'll do some other something with the Avatar new movie coming out. That's a tentative thing, though, because if the new movie comes out and it's not popular and it flops, then they're tied down to this. So I think it'll be a general announcement of, and we're going to be expanding Avatar, you know, you expect a new whatever coming soon, something.
I mean, with the new movies, I feel like they're almost going to have to do something new in Pandora to keep it. I don't want to say relevant, but you know what I mean? They're going to do something, but I don't know how much detail we'll get. It just might more be like in 2024, you know, like in whatever.
And I also think, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no. I also think we're going to get some more like Disney Plus show. Things.
Definitely.
You know, they always do that, whether it's Marvel, Star Wars.
We'll have, you know, more Mando season. The next season will be coming out for that. But the new season of Book of Boba Fett will be coming out. We'll have we'll get an opening date for Ahsoka, the new series coming for Star Wars. You know, we'll have some more Marvel stuff coming. I'm interested to see what they do with Marvel, because I think, and this is my fan hat. The problem that Star Wars had a couple of years ago, and I think the reason Rise of Skywalker was just not good. I think there was too much too fast, and because suddenly we were getting movies instead of getting a movie like every 2 to 3 years, which I honestly like. I love Star Wars, but I like that anticipation. Oh my gosh, we waited 2 years for this. This is awesome. It was like another, you know, here's Last Jedi, and then 6 months later there's Solo, and then there's a show coming out. It was just rapid fire. I think Marvel has got to be careful to not start doing that as well and just overwhelm their people, because right now, as a Marvel fan that I am, there are 2 series, Moon Knight and Ms. Marvel, I haven't even watched yet. I haven't even taken the time to watch them yet. I liked it when it was, you know, last year I had the time to watch WandaVision.
Witch?
WandaVision, and then Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then you had Loki, and then you had Hawkeye, and they were spaced out and everything. And the characters that I cared about, I don't care that much about Moon Knight. I don't care that much about Ms. Marvel. I mean, I guess I'll have to, because she's going to be one of the new Avengers, I guess. But it's like they have to be careful not to just keep like show. Here's another one.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be tricky, and so I'm hoping that they will work on the schedule and be like, I know the schedule's already out. They announced the schedule for a lot of these shows, but I'm hoping they'll give us some idea of like, okay, you know, we don't want to overwhelm you, which you probably will. So, and I think there'll be you're right, new shows will be coming out. I think there'll be new series based on certain things, and who knows, maybe we'll get some more Jeff Goldblum and Nat Geo, which would be awesome.
I love that Jeff Goldblum show.
You know, another season of Imagineering Story. We definitely could use that.
Oh, definitely.
Another series of prop culture, We definitely need more prop culture.
Yeah.
And, you know, give us some Muppets in the park. That would be great. As far as the Magic Kingdom goes, back to the park, of course. And I think we've talked about this before, and this is kind of not announced, but it's a known, unannounced thing where the 50th, we know, will end on the 31st. The 50th celebration on March 31st.
Yes.
It's going to transition into 100 years of Disney, because the Disney company was founded in 1923.
Yeah.
It's D23. 100 years, because next year is 2023. Do the math, Jen. And so that'll be part of that next year's celebration. We'll have all kinds of new fun stuff. I do believe, and I think Heather had something that will go along with this. I think the Main Street Electrical Parade will come back to Magic Kingdom. I think it will.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would definitely
with that new princess float at the very end. That cool new float.
Yeah, the cool one. Yeah.
It's going to premiere. And as far as parades and nighttime shows go, what did Heather say that she thought might happen?
Heather is predicting, quasi-producer Heather predicts that Happily Ever After will make a return. I know a lot of people would be thrilled if that was the case. I will say that of the 3 nighttime spectaculars I've been exposed to, Happily Ever After is still my favorite.
Yes.
And listen, if you're like, no, Wishes was the best. Listen, I am not slighting Wishes. I love Wishes. I love that song, but I love the projections, which really started with the Happily Ever After, as being incorporated into the fireworks. And I just think it was such an amazing show, and I cried every single time. So,
well, I think they could bring Happily Ever After back and use the projections down Main Street, and I mean, basically, do the whole new show. And let's be real, you just change the music. You could have the exact same show as Enchantment and just change the music, and people are happy. I mean, it's all about the music itself, because nobody's like, I don't like that fireworks sequence there. I like the one that was over the castle there doing Happily Ever After. But this one during Enchantment, see the way those
it has to do with the music.
Yeah, it's all about the music.
It's all about the music.
They just incorporated some Walt Disney stuff at the beginning of Enchantment.
Okay.
And and I was listening to the Diz Unplugged, which is not on our network, but which is a great podcast, by the way. We've had Rhino Clavin on, and Craig and Rhino both have said they'll be happy to come back on again. So we'll have to get them. They made the point, and I kind of agree with some of this, that Disney is looking forward and they're not as worried about servicing the existing fans. We're the ones clamoring for Walt Disney. We're the ones clamoring for Disney history. We're the ones clamoring for, if you're going to show us this show, give us some Disney stuff, like history stuff, as well as the new stuff. They're looking ahead to the new fans who, yes, know who Walt Disney is, but it's not so ingrained to the Walt Disney character himself, which is sad. But as a business, as a company, I can kind of see that happening, that they're kind of edging out a lot of the history and stuff, saying we're making our new history, we're moving forward with the new things or whatever. And I think that's what Enchantment is all about. But again, I think you put Happily Ever After.
But there's a big fan base that's fighting back against that, because they want that. They want that history.
There really is. So, so there is that. And I'm also predicting too, that Journey into Imagination at Epcot will get an overhaul of some sort. I think
would be fine with that.
It is. And again, we just talked about fan service and not being important to Disney, but I think it is such a beloved idea, not attraction, because it's attraction now is kind of an abomination.
The current attraction is not beloved.
But don't tell me they don't care about Figment when they're selling Figment popcorn buckets and people are lining up hours ahead of time to get one.
I mean, Figment is the Festival of the Arts. Like that is the mascot. I mean, they're not.
He's the Epcot mascot. He is the Epcot mascot.
He is IP too. I mean, he was created for Epcot. Like, you're not getting rid of Figment, but let's take Figment back to what he's supposed to be.
Right.
And I understand that, the attraction itself, in the original attraction, is, it can supersede time. I know it. Granted, if it was the original 1982 attraction, would it need updates? Right. Yes, 1000%. But we can take Figment back to being that beloved character and more centric, and not in the way he's in there right now. Like right now, it is so dated. It is so dated, and it just needs an overhaul. It does. Yeah. And I love Figgy, and so I want him to not be disserviced.
Yeah, I agree with it. And I think they could do a Figment. I mean, even just touch up the attraction some, do an overhaul. If you put in Inside Out, which I've heard the rumors have been on that forever, make Figment a part of it at least.
Absolutely.
Have a Figment animatronic. And if you don't want to go back to the original Dreamfinder, do a new version of the Dreamfinder. It doesn't have to have a beard. He can have a different costume. He can be goth. Whatever. He can be steampunk with a Figment character.
Oh, that would be kind of cool.
He could be a steampunk Dreamfinder of some sort.
Awesome.
With a Figment character. Yeah. People would lose their minds.
Absolutely. Like the Dreamfinder meets Inside Out. Like, you could totally do something with that. I mean, there would be all sorts of things that you could do with that. The Imagineers could go crazy.
Josh, and I know Josh is listening to this, and I know Marcy's listening to this too, because Marcy loves me, and she'll just forward this to Josh, because she has that power. Or you could just call Bob on the phone, Jen, because you got it.
Yeah.
So I know he called you a couple times to Costa Rica, and you're like, Bob, I'm on a zip line. I can't talk to you right now.
Come on, Bob.
Honestly, I think Disney fans, as aggravated as many of us have been with some of the changes, and Genie Plus is not our favorite. It works great, but the costs and whatever, we get that, and some of the changes, and there's none of this, none of that. I think there's just a handful of things you could throw in there.
Yeah.
And I think people would be so happy. Figment would be one of them.
That would be
make
huge.
us happy. I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fantastic.
He would be like, yeah. So
my final prediction, I think there's going to be an attraction announced that nobody is even thinking about. I think it'll be something like they're going to come up and be like, we're going to do a Big Hero 6 dark ride, or a Rapunzel stage show, or we're going to have over in Hollywood Studios, we're bringing in whatever. We're bringing in a Han Solo, a Princess Leia, Tunnel of Love.
Yeah.
Probably not, but just something. They're going to be an attraction or something announced that
there are
nobody's
certain spaces where there are extinct attractions. Stitch's Great Escape, for example. Right. There's nothing there. Something obviously can go in there.
Yeah, at some point. Absolutely. Something futuristic. Hey, we're going to do a Meet the Robinsons dark ride right there in the old Stitch location. Probably not that, but who knows? I think that's my prediction there. I think there'll be something announced that people will be like, oh,
there's almost always something that comes out of the blue.
There's always something. And of course, we will all lose our minds. Twitter will blow up. It'll be great. And then, of course, next year, we're not hearing much about that. I'm not even sure if it's going to happen. So, that's what happens. So that is a D23 primer for you. Now, our intentions were to do a little quick thing on D23 and talk about Costa Rica for the remainder of the show. But Jen is chatty. I sit here in silence as Jen just keeps talking.
What?
Anyone who's ever heard a smidge of this show knows that's not true.
All of the listeners right now are supporting me. I'm just telling you, they're all like, mm-hmm.
Which sidebar, by the way, I think I sent you this. We got our first 1-star review on iTunes, which is awesome.
You didn't.
Did you not see this? Okay,
no.
So somebody named Willie, don't know who they are. Apparently, they just don't like you because they said basically the entire review was they aren't as funny as they think they are, and I'm like,
okay,
yes, we are. Yes, we are. Apparently, Willie doesn't think you're funny. He probably thinks I'm hilarious, but not you.
I mean, who wouldn't think you're hilarious?
Right? I think I'm hilarious. OMG, I am so funny.
Well,
I'm just kidding. But we love the reviews. There are a lot of 5-star reviews on there. A lot of great things people have said about the show, which we love. And I'm randomly getting emails and comments all the time. Listen to the show, this, that, and the other. For people I've never even heard of, I'm like, oh, listen to the show? That's fantastic. So saying all that we do have a tendency to talk a lot because we get involved in our subjects. So to not run the show for an hour and a half, we're going to save a Costa Rica episode talking about Costa Rica until next week, because I don't want to shortchange that. I don't want to just shortchange that completely and be like, all right, Jen, Costa Rica, and you're 3 minutes into it. I'm like, all right, we're good. Let's go. But there is some exciting things going on with Adventures by Disney. And if you're curious about Adventures by Disney and you're like, you know what, I do want to hear all about this first next week's show. But before that happens, there's some things with booking with Adventures by Disney, and I want you to talk about this. Touch on the Costa Rica, but also want you to talk about what's happening with Adventures by Disney.
So first of all, Costa Rica was fantastic. I'll use this as my background next week too. This is the Autonal volcano. Literally one of my hotel rooms. I woke up. This was my actual view. Literally, I opened up the sliding glass doors across from the bed and took this picture.
That's
phenomenal. Awesome. Literally. That's awesome. And what's great is that and yes, you're in the rainforest. It is going to rain every day, probably. Sometimes
so it's like Epcot.
Clouds. Right. Exactly. No, it doesn't rain at Epcot. Only when Heather's there.
That's true. That's true.
There were clouds like obscuring the whole thing sometimes, and then you would get clear shots like this. It was incredible. Costa Rica has, first of all, the people are amazing. I loved learning about the history. The thing with Adventures by Disney that people don't get is they're like, well, I don't want to go somewhere and just go to Disney. Like Disney is for a theme park. No, the Disney name opens up so many things for you because as a company, they have a reputation, they have this like a good reputation, and it just opens doors for VIP access, things like that. People cater to the Adventures by Disney guests. And look, we had phenomenal service. Everything was taken care of from the moment I touched ground in San Jose Airport. And I got off of the jetway, orange sign, Adventures by Disney. Hey, we're with them. Okay. Give me your luggage tag. Okay. Go through customs. We'll see you at the luggage claim. Over there at the luggage claim, they're already helping us with our bags. They're getting us right outside. Our private transfers pull right up to the resort. It was phenomenal. They move our luggage from one hotel to the next hotel to the next hotel. We didn't have to touch it. We just put it outside. They move it. We didn't have to worry about where to go. We didn't have to worry about, is this place to have a good food, because they had all the food taken care of. They had all of these amazing activities that it would have been a lot to plan yourself, but we also got to do it with people who are now friends. I have never walked away from Adventures by Disney, and this was my third adventure.
That's awesome.
I have never walked away from one being like, oh, like I didn't meet any cool people. No, we literally have lifelong friends that we met. We had such a good time.
I love it.
On this journey.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a highlight, like the broad points. We'll talk more about it next week.
Mm-hmm.
We did whitewater rafting. I did zip lining. It was crazy. One was over like a quarter mile long. It was crazy. Awesome. It was so awesome. We went on our very own jungle cruise, spotting things we saw capuchin monkeys. We saw sloths. We saw spider monkeys. We heard and saw howler monkeys. Man, howler monkeys sound like freaking Yetis. They're like
of course,
so loud.
Of course.
We saw all sorts of birds, and then we saw caiman, which are like, they look like mini crocodiles. They're not crocodiles, but they look like them.
So they were out there and then they came in?
Yeah. Yes. Womp, womp. Again, that's
yes, Willie. We are as funny as we think we are.
I was going to say just that. It was one of your punny jokes. That's what did it. Yeah. And then we chocolate rainforest. How they're making chocolate, because chocolate is a big thing in Costa Rica.
That's awesome.
Yeah, fantastic. Also coffee. We all know how much I love coffee. That was great. And then we ended up over in Guanacaste, which is the Pacific Coast side. Beautiful. I mean, like beaches and just weather. We did a catamaran. Randomly, we saw mating turtles in the water. Hey, I mean,
there you go.
No, I mean,
get a room, you two. Already got one. Point to the back.
So it was just amazing. Literally, I will, anytime there's an Adventures by Disney, if you're thinking like, I don't know how I want to tour this, if you want to be immersed in the culture, this is the way to, believe it or not, this is the way to do it. We had a local guide. I know so much about Costa Rica. I know why they say Pura Vida all the time. It actually has to do with a movie that was released in Mexico. The catchphrase was Pura Vida, never caught on in Mexico, but for whatever reason, Costa Rica saw the movie, loved it. Hilarious. It caught on. Literally, I'd be like, oh, muchas gracias. Like, Pura Vida. That's just how you, how you greeted people even. It was phenomenal. Loved our adventure guides. Of course, you have with Adventures by Disney, you have two. You have a local guide, local to Costa Rica, or wherever you are. Like when I was in Italy, she was local to Italy. And then you have a Disney cast member who, is obviously familiar with, guiding the tours, and they are, American, just to help facilitate. And it's so great because they work wonderfully together. They interact so wonderfully. And so everybody can be, comfortable. You can feel like you are cared for no matter what. I mean, because you've got, and like, obviously your guide from Disney might not speak the language. Ours did speak some Spanish, but in some cases they might not speak Italian or French or whatever, but your local guide does, because they grew up in that area. So anyway, as a result, I had so much fun. I would love everybody to be able to experience this. So we are running a promotion within Upon a Star right now. This is an exclusive offer with Upon a Star Travel. Just have to mention it to your booking agent, whomever that is, whichever Upon a Star agent. And that would be up to $250 worth of a Disney gift card. And you can apply that gift card towards your final payment if you like, or if you'd like to use it for something else after final payment, we can send it to you. But if you would prefer to use it just on the trip, we can apply it towards your trip. But that is our incentive for if you would like to experience an Adventures by Disney through September 15th. And there are great itineraries out there. Costa Rica is actually one of the more affordable ones. I've also done the Italy. I've done Rhine River Cruise. But no matter where you want to go, London, Paris, David's mentioned Antarctica.
Yes.
Yeah, there's like
it's
the
just
Nat
so cool.
Geo. Yeah, you can totally do that. Norway, that's one Brady really wants to go on. There's
and domestic.
Portugal.
There are long weekends.
Long weekends. Yep, there's a long weekend. Now, long weekends probably not going to get the $250, off for reservation, because those are shorter. But there's also the week-long ones. There's Wyoming. There's Arizona, Utah.
Okay.
So there are week-long adventures also in the US. I believe I saw a New England one too that I hadn't seen before. It seems like it's a newer one. There's also a Southern California. So if you want to see like Disneyland, and that's very Disney centric in that case, but lots and lots of great options for Adventures by Disney on basically all 7 continents at this point. So
I love it.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, next week's show, we will talk about Adventures by Disney in Costa
Mhm.
Rica. If you ever wondered how to set one up, how to even look for one, how to pay for one, what's the refunds policies, all that stuff, that's going to be next week. We will walk you through a trip from the very beginning of you leaving your house to getting home and everything in between. We're going to hear all about Jen's Costa Rica trip. So we'll do all that next week. We'll touch on the highlights of D23, maybe probably the main stuff, and then maybe do an actual full review maybe the week after. But we definitely want to talk about Adventures by Disney, and I didn't want to shortchange it. I didn't want what Jen just said to be the only thing we said about Adventures by Disney, because I want to give Jen plenty of time to talk because I can do other stuff. I can work and and watch TV while she's talking.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. I'm glued to the computer just like always. And so yeah, Jen, where can we find you online? How can people contact you and or the agency to find out about this trip?
Well, you can find me at Upon a Star Jen. My personal Instagram is at Jen_Novotny as well. The agency page, always everywhere, at Upon a Star Travel.
Right.
And you can find us on all the social platforms, including TikTok on that. Just reach out. You can also email info@uponastartravel.com.
Yep.
We can, hook you up with one of our agents. You can also take a look at our agents on the page and then, email either of us. Dave.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm here. Yes, absolutely. You can find me, of course, at The Magic on a Dollar on Instagram. As I mentioned, you can find me on Facebook at Magic on a Dollar and Disney on a Dollar and find all kinds of fun stuff there. This week at Disney on a Dollar on my Disney page, I'm talking about Art of Animation. So if you've ever wondered about that resort, every day I'm taking a different section of it because there's so many different sections of that resort. Go there, see the pictures, hear the highlights. It's a great way to kind of recap that resort over the course of a week. Of course, Magic is just a bunch of fun stuff, and Instagram, again, a bunch of fun stuff, and travel, Disney, positivity for your feed because the world's crazy and we like to do being positive. Of course, find us at the MSE Podcast on Instagram, the MSE Podcast on Facebook and on Twitter and all those fun places as well. Jen, we got a lot to talk about next week.
Yeah, we do.
I'm sure you and I have a lot to talk about in the next couple of days because, again, we haven't talked much since you've been gone. And I'm not used to that. I'm used to, you're my emotional support agency owner. And so so I'm sure we will talk very soon. But for all of you guys out there, don't forget to talk about those Adventures by Disney trips. Listen into the streamcasting for D23. Join us next week for Costa Rica. And hey, until then, thank your Phoenicians.
Thank you for listening to the Main Street Electrical Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at the MSE Podcast, or visit our website at themsepodcast.com. Be sure to subscribe, and may all your wishes come true.